For thousands of years, the ancient city of Baalbek has stood silently in the heart of Lebanon's Bekaa Valley, holding secrets so vast that even today, scientists and historians are still struggling to comprehend them. The sheer scale of its stones defies logic. The craftsmanship defies time. And the story of how those colossal blocks were carved, transported, and lifted into perfect alignment has remained one of history's most mind-bending mysteries. But something remarkable has just changed. Artificial intelligence, a tool of our own modern genius, has been unleashed on the riddle of Baalbek. Its findings are not only surprising, they are rewriting what we thought we knew about the capabilities of ancient builders. Could AI finally expose how this ancient masterpiece was truly constructed? Or will its conclusions only deepen the mystery that has haunted researchers for centuries? Let's begin where the enigma first starts, among the impossible stones themselves. The impossible stones of Baalbek. The site of Baalbek looks almost otherworldly. Rising out of the dusty Lebanese plain are the remains of vast Roman temples, the Temple of Jupiter, the Temple of Bacchus, and the Temple of Venus, towering symbols of imperial power. Yet beneath their marble columns lies something even more astonishing, stone blocks so massive that even the most advanced cranes of today would struggle to lift them. These are the Baalbek megaliths, a name whispered with awe by every engineer, archaeologist, and traveler who's ever seen them. Some of these stones weigh over 1,500 tons, while others measure more than 70 feet in length. One of them, the legendary stone of the pregnant woman, sits half buried in the quarry, estimated at nearly 1,000 tons. In 2014, an even larger block was discovered beside it, weighing approximately 1,650 tons, making it the heaviest known stone ever carved by human hands. To put that in perspective, that's like moving 3 fully loaded Boeing 747s tied together or stacking 300 adult elephants in a single, unbroken piece of limestone. The question that has baffled minds for generations is painfully simple: how? How could ancient builders, more than 2,000 years ago, carve and move such enormous stones with no cranes, no powered tools, and no steel machinery? Even the mighty Romans, history's most celebrated engineers, never documented how these foundation stones were placed. In fact, the Romans didn't record them at all. They wrote extensively about their roads, aqueducts, and temples, but when it came to Baalbek's gigantic blocks, silence. It's almost as if they didn't build them. The AI investigation begins. For decades, researchers have offered theories. Some claim the Romans used an army of slaves with wooden rollers and ramps. Others suggested more advanced pulley systems or unknown ancient technologies. But none of these theories ever fully explained how stones weighing more than 5 times the maximum load of Roman cranes could have been lifted or moved with such precision. Recently, a group of scientists turned to a modern ally, artificial intelligence, to see if the riddle could be solved using digital logic. They fed an AI system every known detail about Baalbek's layout, materials, and ancient engineering techniques. The AI then ran tens of thousands of simulations, exploring every possibility: dragging, lifting, rolling, sliding, levering, and ramping. The results were astonishing, and humbling. Every traditional method failed. No combination of manpower, ropes, rollers, or ramps could fully explain how the Baalbek stones were moved without breaking, sinking into the soil, or losing alignment. But then, the AI began generating new, hybrid solutions, possibilities no human engineer had previously proposed. It suggested that the builders might have designed specialized wooden sledges lubricated with animal fats or plant oils to reduce friction. By distributing the stone's weight across multiple contact points, they could slide massive blocks across prepared earth ramps with far less resistance than we imagined. According to these new computer-based models, as few as 500 to 1,000 skilled laborers could have maneuvered even the heaviest stones, not tens of thousands of slaves. The AI's answer wasn't definitive, but it changed everything. It implied that the people who built Baalbek were not primitive laborers, they were master engineers, with a working understanding of friction, weight distribution, and material physics thousands of years ahead of their time. The foundations that shouldn't exist. To truly grasp the magnitude of Baalbek, one has to look beneath the visible temples. The Roman structures, majestic as they are, sit upon an even older foundation. This lower layer, composed of gigantic limestone blocks, doesn't match Roman architecture at all. Roman builders typically used well-cut but manageable stones, rarely exceeding 20 or 30 tons. Yet here, the foundation stones dwarf anything seen in Roman construction. Their corners align with uncanny accuracy, their seams are so tight that not even a razor blade can slip between them, and their leveling is so exact that entire temples rest upon them without any visible shifting after thousands of years. Archaeologists studying the site realize that the foundation might predate the Romans by thousands of years. The style of stone cutting and the massive scale bear no resemblance to classical Roman methods. It's as if an unknown civilization laid the groundwork, and the Romans merely built their temples on top, inheriting the foundation of a forgotten world. The precision that defies tools. Visitors who have stood before these stones often describe a feeling of disbelief. How could builders from the ancient world cut and position such massive blocks so perfectly, without iron saws or modern instruments? Even today, aligning two surfaces of that size with millimeter precision would require lasers, cranes, and digital measuring equipment. Yet the builders of Baalbek achieved it thousands of years ago, with tools we can't identify and techniques we barely understand. The seams between blocks are nearly invisible. The angles are true. The surfaces, polished and perfectly leveled, look like the work of machines that didn't exist until the industrial age. Some researchers have even noticed similarities between the stone-cutting styles of Baalbek and other mysterious sites such as the Herodian walls in Jerusalem and the Inca stonework of Peru, civilizations separated by thousands of miles and entire oceans. Were these similarities coincidence, or echoes of a lost engineering tradition that stretched across the ancient world? Legends of giants and lost civilizations. Throughout Lebanon's history, stories about Baalbek have passed from generation to generation. The local legends say the stones were lifted by giants, beings of extraordinary strength known in ancient lore as the Nephilim, offspring of gods and mortals. Others believe the site was built by divine beings as a gateway between heaven and earth, a place of power and celestial energy. Later storytellers, mystics, and even modern authors like Graham Hancock have suggested that Baalbek might predate all known civilizations, possibly dating back over 12,000 years, before the last ice age. If that were true, Baalbek could be a remnant of a forgotten culture that possessed engineering knowledge equal to, or greater than, our own, a civilization lost to floods or cataclysm, leaving behind only these silent stones as proof of its existence. Of course, mainstream archaeology doesn't confirm such theories, but even the most conservative scholars admit that Baalbek's earliest layers are older than anyone once thought. Whether built by Romans, Phoenicians, or some unknown pre-Roman culture, the site refuses to give up its full truth. The stones themselves seem to guard their secrets. When science met mystery. The first large-scale archaeological excavations at Baalbek began in the late 19th century, when Kaiser Wilhelm II of Germany visited the site and funded detailed studies. What they uncovered shocked them. Beneath the Roman temples were deeper, older layers of construction, proving the area had been sacred for thousands of years before the Romans arrived. Further studies found evidence that people had inhabited Baalbek since the Neolithic era, nearly 10,000 years ago. Pottery fragments, tools, and traces of early structures hinted that the site had always been special, perhaps a place of worship, perhaps a ceremonial center aligned with the stars. In later digs, archaeologists discovered Persian pottery dating to between the 6th and 4th centuries BCE, showing that the Persians too had built or occupied the area long before Rome. And still deeper, hidden in the foundations, lay evidence of architectural styles that didn't fit any known empire. Researchers also uncovered carved blueprints etched directly into stone floors, showing that Roman builders meticulously planned the upper temples. But those plans only covered the visible structures, not the colossal foundation beneath. The Romans, it seems, built on top of something they neither designed nor fully understood. Margaret van Es, a German archaeologist, later discovered that the builders of the megaliths had skillfully cut along natural rock fissures, exploiting the stone's geological weaknesses to free enormous blocks without fracturing them. This indicated a deep understanding of both engineering and geology, one that required precise planning, not brute force. Even more astonishingly, comparisons with Herodian architecture in Jerusalem revealed the same pattern of alternating headers and stretchers, huge blocks laid in interlocking patterns to increase stability. Could there have been a shared network of engineers across the ancient world, exchanging techniques long before the rise of Rome? The ever-changing city of the gods. Over thousands of years, Baalbek transformed again and again. What began as a Neolithic settlement became a Phoenician sanctuary dedicated to Baal-hadad, the god of fertility and storms. Later, under Roman rule, Baal-hadad became Jupiter, the thunder god of Rome. The temples built in his honor were among the largest in the empire. The Romans also constructed temples for Venus and the Muses, each reflecting layers of mythology and cultural fusion. The Temple of Venus, with its rare circular design, broke Roman architectural conventions, while the Temple of the Muses honored creativity and knowledge itself, perhaps symbolic of the mystery that Baalbek represented even then. When the medieval era arrived, the massive stones that once formed ancient terraces and walls were reused to build fortifications. The Crusaders and later Islamic rulers recognized the power of the megaliths, not spiritual, but defensive. 9 of the largest stones were integrated into fortress walls, altering the site's appearance but preserving its legacy. Thus, Baalbek became a palimpsest of civilizations, layer upon layer of history, myth, and reuse. Neolithic farmers, Phoenician priests, Roman architects, Persian stonemasons, medieval knights, all left their mark, but none claimed to be the first. The puzzle that refuses to be solved. AI's analysis has brought us closer to understanding the mechanics of Baalbek than ever before. It has revealed that ancient people may have used ingenuity, not divine power, to accomplish the impossible. Yet, the mystery remains far from solved. Why does the foundation predate the temples above it? Who first designed the layout of the stones? Why were such colossal blocks needed when smaller ones could have served the same purpose? And most hauntingly, what knowledge did those builders possess that was later lost to history? Each discovery answers one question but opens 10 more. The closer we look, the stranger the picture becomes. Baalbek stands as a bridge between myth and science, between human intellect and forgotten wisdom. It challenges us to reconsider what ancient truly means. Perhaps those who came before were not less advanced, only different in ways we are just beginning to rediscover. What Baalbek really teaches us. The ruins of Baalbek remind us that human history is far from linear. Knowledge can be gained, and lost, many times. Civilizations rise, achieve wonders, and vanish, leaving behind only fragments that defy our understanding. Today, as artificial intelligence examines the same stones that puzzled emperors and explorers, it gives us a mirror into our own time. We, too, use machines to solve mysteries, yet we stand in awe of a people who may have solved them without any machines at all. Baalbek is more than a ruin, it is a question carved in stone. A question about human potential, about what we can achieve when we combine creativity with willpower, and about what may have been possible long before us. The site remains an enduring paradox, part temple, part fortress, part enigma. Beneath its sun-bleached stones lie the layers of humanity itself, our ambition, our faith, our imagination, and our unending drive to understand. And as AI continues to decode its secrets, one thing grows increasingly clear: Baalbek was not simply built, it was engineered by minds that refused to accept limits. Whether those minds belonged to Romans, Persians, or an even older civilization, their achievement still humbles the modern world.